Halloween is just right around the corner, making this the perfect time to publish this video. What's up, Dreamer Tribe? What's up, world? I am Vianca, and welcome to another 5 Things Friday episode. So just like I have mentioned before, Halloween is just a couple of days away, and unfortunately it is going to land in the middle of the week, a Wednesday. And that being the case, I decided that the perfect episode or topic to discuss in today's 5 Things Friday would be related to that spookiest time of the year. With that said, today's video is going to be about the top 5 scariest games I have ever played. So although this is the topic of my choice, I am in no way an enthusiast of the genre. Like, I could play a couple of scary games, but those aren't really my forte, and depending on how scary the game is, I actually do end up abandoning it without completing the entirety of the game's story. Having said that, all the games on this list are of course games that I have personally played, and if I didn't actually manage to finish it, I did end up going a long way. I'm also going to be on the occasion that there is a game here I haven't actually finished. On regards to that, I do have a very good explanation on why I never managed to finish that game. Although I am quite open to finishing it at some point, maybe in the very, very far off future. Anyway, that's all we have for the intro to today's 5 Things Friday. So let's get right into the heart of the matter, starting with our top 5.
My end is near. In my final hour, I commend my soul to God. May He have mercy on this unholy place. Francis Drake.
That's right, guys. The number 5, or the top 5 on my list of scariest games I have ever played is Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Now, that may be a strange addition to put into this list, considering that the game itself isn't categorized as a horror survival game. But the fact is that as I was playing the game, I didn't really expect that something similar to how Resident Evil paces their games early in the series. Like, I didn't expect there to actually be some horror elements, some supernatural elements, and there was this one chapter or one part of the game, or of that game of Uncharted Drake's Fortune, that scared the heck out of me the first time I played it, and that is during chapter 18, The Bunker. Now, in that chapter, Drake has found the way into a bunker where I think soldiers from the past have hidden themselves with the fortune that was taken from the ship that belonged to Sir Francis Drake. As it happens, though, the people that were in that bunker, or it's a bunker, they never got out, and they ended up turning into these cursed creatures that attack you as you are trying to get yourself yourself out of that place. And it's scary because again it was unexpected for that game, as well as how the creatures actually were similar to, you know, World War Z's version of zombies, where they just come at you, and they came at such great numbers that it is actually impossible at one point in that particular chapter to defeat them all, and you're just left to run out of the room and hope that there is an escape somewhere as you try to solve the puzzle within that room. And that reason alone is why I added this game into the list, or at least even though it is at the bottom of the list. It really scared the heck out of me when I played it the first time around.
Imagine a night
This was the right thing to do.
where every decision
What the hell was that?
and every single action
I just saw someone at the cabin.
affects your fate
Very funny. Guys, come
and the
on.
fate of those around you.
Okay, so the top 4 on my list is, of course, Until Dawn. Now, this isn't really that scary of a game if you keep on playing it again and again, which is something that I did in order to platinum the game. And the first time I played it, I was so scared because, again, I wanted to get the perfect ending. And I went into this game without knowing a single thing about it other than that it's a choice-based game where your main concern is making sure that these kids, these friends, end up surviving the entire night. Now, when I played this, I was expecting it to, you know, be similar to like those B horror movies where everything is so cliched and where the characters act so dumb that you can't really find any reason why they wouldn't get killed. And as I was playing this, my only concern was who was playing these games, these horrific games to these kids, and pulling this prank on them, if it was a prank, or who is the serial killer that is out to get these kids. Now, as the game progressed, however, we learned that it is in fact a prank gone wrong, but the true horror of the night isn't in the form of their friend who is just after them to get revenge for what happened to his sisters, but there is actually something horrific going on in the mountain villa where they are staying. And this is scary because apart from the atmosphere that this game provides and the feeling of being responsible for the lives of these people, regardless if it is only just a game, but you feel this weight of the consequences of your actions actually, and see it come to pass on what happens to the characters. Apart from those, there are actually a couple of jump scares here. Now, the heart-pounding moments aren't just because of you being chased by these creatures or this made-up person that is the killer that is hunting this group of friends, but the fact that the gameplay requires you to at times stay still, like physically still, whenever you're hiding from the killer or the creatures that are revealed later in the game. During my first playthrough, I was actually holding onto the controller for dear life, and actually physically staying still because I didn't want any of the characters to end up dying because of my inability to keep still. Now, later on, I figured out and I found out from a friend who also played this game ahead of me that I could actually just disable the vibration function of the PS4 controller and just put it down, which actually helped immensely get past the difficult moments where you actually have to stay still, and also alleviated some of the tension from the game. However, I'm putting it still as on the number 4 spot regardless of that, because again, the first time I played it, the atmosphere, the intensity of the cause and effect of your choices, and the reveal at the end and the gameplay actually makes this one of the scariest games I have ever played. And it's something that regardless of how many times I had played it, there's still a part of me at the back of my brain that's still scared about the events in this game. I also know that there is a prequel game, a VR game for this that I think it's the Inpatient, and it uses the PlayStation VR and the same mechanics of keeping still in order to survive at some point in the game, which I think is even scarier still since the monsters are now right at your face. But yeah, Until Dawn, it's an incredible experience, fantastic story, kind of cliched at times, and the character development is there regardless of how short the game is, and it is something I consider to be one of the scariest games I have ever played. And now we come into the third scariest game I have ever played, and that is The Coma. Now I have played this game on the PC when it first came out on Steam, and it is the first Korean based horror game I have ever played. And we all know how scary Koreans can make their horror stories. Now this is a side scroller puzzle survivor horror-esque game where you try to figure out a way out of the school where you got stuck in at night. And to make matters worse, there is a killer on the loose that is trying to kill you, and the killer looks like one of your teachers, so you have to figure out why these things are happening to you. There are a lot of mysteries involved in this game, and the ending is set so that there is a hope for a or a desire at least for a sequel, which I hope is in development, because this is actually one of the horror games that I actually liked and enjoyed playing. And this reason why this is on the top 3 again has to do with the game mechanics as well as the atmosphere in the game. Now, similar to Until Dawn, you are being chased by a killer and a couple of other dark creatures, and your only means of surviving is hiding from them as you try to make your way out of the school. And there are times when you have no choice but to meet these creatures head on in order to progress through the story, and during those times you actually have to think of a way where you can get past them without getting caught. And there are moments that are really so intense in this game that you would actually feel your heart pounding so hard in your chest as you try to find solutions to the puzzles that are scattered around the school, around the campus, while also trying to keep yourself alive. Now, you can run in this game, but in doing so, you cause a lot of noise and your stamina drops to the point where when you actually need to run faster, you may not be able to do so. And again, that adds into the scary factor in the game, which isn't as bad as the others that are on this list. So now we have come to the second on this top 5 list, and that is, of course, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Now, this is the oldest game on this list, and is also the first survival horror game I have played. And I played this when I was still a kid, and I remember trying so hard to beat it and being afraid, not only because this game has plenty of jump scares and those weird camera angles that would really make you anticipate that there would be something that would come at you, or not just because of the ambience of the music and the atmosphere within the game, but mostly because of the tyrant, or the large monster that is dubbed Nemesis in this game, that keeps popping up and trying to come after and kill Jill, the protagonist of this game. Now, I remember when I played it the first time around, I was so scared that when I got to the final level of the game where Jill faces up against the tyrant enemy, the big zombie dude, I remember not being able to finish it by myself, that I actually had to call a friend of mine to beat the game for me. And it took me several years after that to be able to go back to the game and beat the game for myself. Regardless, Resident Evil 3 remains to be one of my favorite video games, irregardless of the genre that it is in or how scary the game could be at times. And it's more of like the pulse pounding feeling of playing that game, and then this huge guy, zombie, just suddenly comes crashing in and then chases after your character. And this game, as with all the Resident Evil games of the past, had this weird controller scheme that I'm not a fan of when it comes to games like this, and that made the game much more difficult. I think that's one of the most difficult things in the game, not just the puzzles. The puzzles are actually pretty easy. It's what I love most about Resident Evil games, apart from the story, despite it being disjointed at times, and somehow things get retconned a lot of times. But I love the series. Granted, we now have the 7th Resident Evil game that hope to, put a higher level of fear to those who are playing the game and who has played the game or have played the game. And I only managed to play like the beginning of it, as well as the playable demo for the PlayStation 4 and the PC. I was never able to finish the actual game because first person's first person games aren't really my thing. I get dizzy quickly. The only game I suppose that I could stand that first person perspective camera is Overwatch, which is a good thing because I love that game. But yeah, I've never played or finished the 7th game, and even though I have heard how scary that game is because of, again, the ambience, the music, the in your face sort of jump scares, and how the story is, I still believe and I still think that Resident Evil 3 is the best in the series.
I'm Sung-Ah Kim, homeroom 8. And you? Anyway.
Ah, yes. The top 1 scariest game I have ever played, and the only one on this list that I was never able to actually finish for myself. And that is White Day, The Labyrinth of Horrors. And this is another Korean-based video game, horror survival video game, and like Resident Evil 7, it is also played using the first-person perspective, and that particular perspective's camera. Basically, the story of the game is that you control a guy who has this crush on a girl, and the girl forgets or loses or forgets a notebook and a picture with it, and he intends to return it to that girl along with the chocolate that guys give to girls during White Day, which is sort of a partner festival or holiday in Japan and in other Eastern countries. Now, the stupidest thing about this game is that the guy goes to school or tries to return the notebook at night. I suppose his idea was to leave it on the girl's shoe locker or something, but he ends up, similar to the coma, being trapped inside the school at night, where horrors ensue. And I do mean that literally. Not only does he have to contend with a janitor who seems to want to kill or enjoy killing trespassers, but he also has to contend with these portal to the underworld opening and letting out ghosts and other creatures from the darkness. This game has a lot of mysteries that you can solve, but I was never able to finish it. I did try to play it, I did try to finish it, and the proof is on this channel, which has 3 episodes of White Day let's play videos of that game, but again, I was not able to finish it, and as pathetic as it sounds, I actually tried to finish that game and play that game using the lowest difficulty possible, where you don't really encounter all of the ghosts, and the only times that you do encounter them are during the story. You don't encounter them on hallways, on opening what do you call this, the lockers, which there are ghosts in the game that you can trigger. There's actually a trophy for that, but I opted not to do so because, again, I don't enjoy first-person games, and I don't enjoy horror games that much, regardless of how amazing the stories are in those games. And although I did really try to attempt to finish it, and I wasn't able to, and my mom actually ban me from playing the game since she noticed that I was having a hard time breathing while playing that game, and I tend to feel a discomfort on my chest, and she had to play it because it might not be good for my health. She had to stop me from playing it because of that, and so I never got to finish the game, and I feel bad for that because that game was actually gifted to me by a good friend and I wasn't able to finish it. And I've never looked it up on YouTube, like what happens after that place where I stopped with, which if I remember correctly, I stopped when I actually managed to get inside the principal's room. I stopped there. I don't know what happens next. I haven't tried reading into any of the walkthroughs that are scattered around, and I do know that this the PS4 version and the PC version were remakes from the mobile game version. And again, even though it is pretty old and the remake is actually pretty good, it's more than just a remaster. Again, the way it was presented was so horrifyingly scary that even as I'm talking about this right now, I'm actually feeling anxious. It's making me remember all those scary moments in the game. Granted, I'm still really curious about the game story. I want to try it again, but I don't think I would be able to, even at the lowest difficulty that I was playing it. So I would probably just read up on it or watch others play through the game, or invite someone to play it with me. I don't know, but I'm really curious as how White Day turns out in the end. I do know there are 10 endings, so that's interesting, but it's just way too scary for me to actually play the game by myself. And well, there you guys have it, my top 5 scariest video games that I have ever played. And talking about White Day really gave me the chills. So anyways, what games have you guys played that are of the horror genre that you consider to be the scariest game of them all? Please do tell me about it on the comment section below. I'm quite curious if any of you guys also feel the same way that I do about the games on this list. Also, once again, thank you all to our new Dreamer Tribe members, our new subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I hope you're liking the content thus far. I have tons more planned for the coming weeks and days and months and years. And to everyone who liked this video, thank you so much. If you enjoyed watching it, please click on the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button below. And also, if you want to be a part of our notification squad, then just click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button. That way you will know when new videos come out. So again, thank you all for watching today's 5 Things Friday episode, and you guys know the drill. Until next time, dream on, fly on.